Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, for those of you joining for the first time today. All right guys, emails are starting to go out for you to do your voting for the annual shareholders meeting that's gonna be held on June 5th, 2024. So we're about a month and a week away from that meeting, and the proxy statements have gone out, now for it came out the 24th, so like 6 days ago or so. And it goes over everything that's going to be voted on. A lot of this is the same that was voted on at the last time that all got voted no. And so today we're going to go through it, and I went through it all, and I've read it all, and I've got it all into a summary. So I'm going to read you the summary of what each of the 9 proposals says. I'm going to read you that so that you can have information to make your voting decisions better. So for me, I'm going to wait and I'm going to vote after the earnings report next week, so that I can have just a better idea of what it is that I'm actually like. I want to hear what they have to say before I vote. I think it's just smart. I think it makes sense, and I kind of encourage you to do that. But you guys are going to vote the way that you want, and that's what I'm here for. Is I'm not here to tell you how to vote. I'm just going to tell you what it says in there, so that if you don't have the time to do the reading and figure it out, at least you heard it. So you're not just voting no because, oh, this is what I'm seeing everywhere or whatever, right? Like, hear what it is. I'm going to post a link in the description of the video for the actual the document, so you guys can go through and read it if you'd like. It is a lengthy document. There's a lot of pages and a lot of charts and a lot of things to look at. So feel free to go through and look at it, read it, and figure that out. So I'm going to get started. And if this is the kind of thing you like, or if you like just being motivated around AMC and you're looking for that kind of community, like and subscribe to the channel and just join in this community of people who still are apes and are looking just for another community to be part of around the movement for AMC. So guys, let's get started here. This is a public service announcement brought to you in part by me. At the end of the video, about 2 minutes to the end, is a recap of all of the proposals in a much shorter version. I suggest that you listen to all of it, but if you don't have the time, or if you just want to hear it real fast, listen to that part. It's better to hear it than to not hear it at all. And then when you go and read it and you don't want to read through 100 and something pages of a document, I'll see you back next time. All right, Proposal 1. The company proposes an amendment to its certificate of incorporation to immediately declassify the board and make other minor changes, such as updating registered office information and removing references to eliminated stock classes. The board unanimously recommends stockholder approval. If approved, directors will stand for annual election instead of serving staggered 3-year terms. The board weighed advantages and disadvantages of classified versus declassified boards, ultimately favoring the latter for increased stockholder accountability. The proposed changes aim to enhance corporate governance and reflect the company's evolving structure, including the conversion of Class B common stock and the reduced significance of certain shareholders. Approval requires a majority vote outstanding common stock. The board recommends voting for the proposed amendment. That was a summary of what Proposal 1 is. So if 1 passes, then 2A happens. If 1 doesn't happen, then 2B happens. And here is the summary for that. At the upcoming annual meeting, depending on the vote outcome for Proposal 1, shareholders will either vote to elect 10 unclassified directors for 1-year term until the 2025 annual meeting, or 3 Class 1 directors for a 3-year term until 2027 annual meeting. That's the Proposal 2B. If Proposal 1 is approved, the nominees for the 10 unclassified director positions are Adam Aaron, Denise M. Clark, Sonia Jane, Howard W. Hawk Koch Jr., Philip Latter, Gary F. Locke, Kathleen M. Paulus, Carrie S. Putnam, Anthony J. Seitch, I don't know if I'm saying that right, and Adam J. Sussman. However, if Proposal 1 fails, the 3 nominees for Class 1 directors are Philip Latter, Gary F. Locke, and Adam J. Sussman. The Nominating and Corporate Governance Committee and the board believe that all nominees possess the necessary qualifications to oversee the company's business, and regardless of the voting outcome. So basically, if you vote yes on Proposition 1, then those 10 people are now you're going to like essentially vote them in as the board, and then they will only serve 1-year terms and have to be reelected every year. If you don't vote yes on Proposition 1, then if Proposition 1 doesn't pass, then it goes to Proposition 2. And if that passes, then only the 3 people get reelected for 3 more years. And the rest of the people that don't fall in that timeline will get voted on again at a later date. So keep that in mind. Proposition 3, this proposal seeks stockholder approval to amend the certificate of incorporation by removing the prohibition against stockholders taking action by written consent without holding a meeting, as outlined in Section A of Article 6. The board recommends approval of this amendment, which was previously supported by approximately 83% of shares at the 2023 annual meeting, but failed due to insufficient stockholder participation. The board considered the advantages and disadvantages of the prohibition, noting its potential to provide corporate stability and anti-takeover protection, but acknowledging the conflict with principles of good corporate governance. Removal of the prohibition would align with current best practices and maximize stockholder participation in company affairs. The proposed amendment, if approved, will allow stockholders to take action as provided by law, and the company's proposed Fifth Amendment and restated bylaws. Conforming changes will be made to the certificate of incorporation, and the amended versions will become effective upon filing with the Secretary of State of Delaware. Proposal 4, the proposal seeks stockholder approval to amend the certificate of incorporation by removing the prohibition against stockholders calling for a special meeting of stockholders, as outlined in Section B of Article 6. The board recommends approval of this amendment, which was previously supported by approximately 84% of the shares at the 2023 annual meeting, but failed due to insufficient stockholder participation. Currently, the board has the authority to call special meetings. The board considered the advantages and disadvantages of the restriction, noting that allowing stockholders to call special meetings increases their voting rights and aligns with corporate governance excellence. However, to mitigate potential abuse of this right, the proposed amendment establishes a 20% ownership threshold for stockholders to request a special meeting. This threshold strikes a balance between enhancing stockholder rights and protecting against the risk of unnecessary financial expense and disruption to business operations. The removal of the restriction, coupled with the proposed changes to the bylaws, represents an increase in stockholder rights and is consistent with investor feedback and the board's commitment to corporate governance excellence. Governance excellence. The board believes that this proposal is advisable and in the best interest of the company and its stockholders. Proposal 5. This proposal aims to amend the certificate of incorporation by expanding the exculpation provision to protect certain officers from liability in specific circumstances as permitted by Delaware law. The board recommends approval of this amendment, which was previously supported by approximately 60% of shares at the 2023 annual meeting, but failed due to insufficient stockholder participation. The amendment seeks to extend the exculpation provision to officers in addition to directors for monetary damages related to breach of fiduciary duty to the fullest extent allowed by the DGCL. The amendment aligns with a recent amendment to Section 102B7 of the DCGL, which enables corporations to exculpate officers from liability for breach of the duty of care under certain conditions. The board believes that including officers in the exculpation provision is appropriate for public companies and empowers both directors and officers to make decisions in the best interest of stockholders without undue concerns about personal liability. This provision is particularly crucial given the litigious environment and the potential for lawsuits based on hindsight. Expanding the exculpation provision would align the protections available to officers with those afforded to directors and would better position the company to attract and retain top officer candidates. Additionally, it would minimize distractions posed by the risk of personal liability and align the interests of officers with those stockholders. Proposal 6, the audit committee. The audit committee has chosen Ernst & Young LLP as the independent registered public accounting firm to conduct the audit of our consolidated financial statements and internal control over financial reporting for 2024. Ernst & Young previously served in this capacity for 2023. The audit committee oversees the qualifications, engagement, compensation, independence, and performance of the independent registered public accounting firm. It requires a rotation of lead audit engagement and concurring partners every 5 years and periodically considers auditor rotation to ensure independence. Stockholders are being asked to ratify the selection of Ernst & Young for 2024. However, even if ratified, the audit committee may choose a different firm if it deems it in the best interest of the company and stockholders. If stockholders do not ratify Ernst & Young, the audit committee may appoint another firm or retain Ernst & Young. Representatives from Ernst & Young will attend the annual meeting where they can make a statement and respond to stockholder questions. So if you weren't planning on listening, listen if that is one you care about. Kind of like last time. So this is the only thing that I'm going to say about this, in my opinion, is that it makes sense to vote yes on this because they've been doing it and it will prolong things in the long term. And most of these companies all serve the same purpose. And just like it said in there is that it is set up so that not one person is constantly doing it. They're always rotating people to keep it more honest. Proposal 7, the Say on Pay resolution seeks an advisory vote from stockholders on the compensation of the company's named executive officers as disclosed in the proxy statement for the 2024 annual meeting of stockholders pursuant to item 402 of Regulation S-K. The resolution is non-binding, but the board and compensation committee will consider stockholders' concerns and evaluate whether actions are necessary in response. Proposal 8. The proposal outlines the transition from the previous equity incentive plan to the AMC Entertainment Holdings, Inc. 2024 equity incentive plan, stressing its importance for attracting and retaining talent, aligning interests with shareholders, and promoting business success. Without approval of the 2024 plan, the company might face challenges in issuing equity awards, potentially resorting to cash settlements for executives and non-employee directors, which could strain cash flow. So basically, if it doesn't do that, it's going to, instead of executive officers getting shares, they're going to get cash for their bonuses. So that's like more cash that comes out of the pocket instead of shares. Okay. The board recommends voting for the approval of 2024, highlighting its governance features, which such as caps on director pay, dividend restrictions, and prohibitions on stock option repricing. Key components include clawback provisions for the change in control scenarios and adjustments to capitalization changes, tax implications, and accounting treatments are also outlined, emphasizing the need for shareholder approval and the company's intention to register the shares under the plan with the SEC. If you're going to read any of them, maybe go read that one, because that one, it directly reflects pay that a lot of people complain about. So go read that one click on the link or you probably will have to highlight the link and put it in your browser. But Proposal 9, this proposal is to authorize the holder of any proxy solicited by the board to vote in favor of adjourning, postponing, or continuing the annual meeting and any latter adjournments, if necessary, to solicit additional proxies in favor of the proposal. This allows the board to seek additional votes if the number of votes in favor of the proposal is insufficient. So guys, again, number one, vote. Get on there and vote, and then show up to the meeting, because when people show up, it shows that there's actual participation. If you're gonna complain about things and you don't show up, then don't complain about it. That is 100% my opinion, and I say that with just sheer conviction. If you're working, I get it. It sucks. You might not be able to participate. If you have a job where you're able to listen to the call while you're working, turn it on. Put your phone aside and listen. You might hear something that you didn't know, or you might hear something that's different than what you had heard in the past. So I just 100% think you should get on and listen. If you're not able to listen to the annual call, I will 100% be making a recap of what I hear in it. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to listen. I'm going to do what I can to make sure that I'm paying attention as best as I can during that time. And that means that I'll probably try to just take that day off of work, or at least the time during that, so that I can listen, and I'll get my business partner to sit in for me while I am not here, so I can be there for you guys and explain it. But the most important part is to vote. Just get online, get that and vote. And again, listen to this video, read the document, listen to the earnings call, and then vote. I'm going to do a quick recap of all of them just so that you have an idea what it is. And then we will talk again soon. All right, declassification of the board. This is Proposal 1. This proposal seeks to transition the board from a classified structure where directors serve staggered 3-year terms to an unclassified structure where directors stand for annual election. The rationale behind this change is to increase stockholder accountability. The board unanimously recommends approval. Proposal 2, election of directors. Depending on the outcome of Proposal 1, shareholders will vote either to elect 10 unclassified directors for a 1-year term or 3 Class 1 directors for a 3-year term. The nominees for unclassified director positions are listed, and regardless of the outcome, the board recommends voting for each nominee. Proposal 3, removal of prohibition against written consent. Proposal aims to remove the prohibition against stockholder taking action by written consent without holding a meeting. Proposition 4, removal of prohibition against calling special meetings. Proposal seeks to remove the restriction that only the board can call special meetings, allowing stockholders to do so with a 20% ownership threshold. The board recommends approval, considering it's an enhancement to stockholder rights. Proposal 5, expansion of the exculpation provision, aims to extend the exculpation provision to officers in addition to directors, protecting them from certain liabilities related to breach of fiduciary duty. Proposition 6, ratification of independent registered public accounting firm. This is to ratify Ernst & Young as the auditor for the accounting firm, or as the accounting firm. Proposition 7, advisory vote on executive compensation. Stockholders are asked for an advisory vote on the compensation of named executive officers. So it's one of the ones where it doesn't matter what you vote. They want your opinion. They want to know what you feel about this topic so that they can make the best decision that they think based on what you say. Proposition 8 is the approval of the 2024 Equity Incentive Plan, which outlines the transition to the AMC Entertainment Holdings 2024 Executive Plan from the current one, and highlighting its importance for attracting and retaining talent. And number 9, again, is authorization to adjourn the annual meeting. This proposal authorizes the holder of any proxy solicited by the board to vote in favor of adjourning the annual meeting if necessary to solicit additional proxies in favor of the proposals. All right, guys, that was a lot to take in, and I hope that you made it all the way at the end, and I hope that if you didn't, you at least listened to the very last section of this that's here, and that you can make the best decision that you can. Guys, I will talk to you later. Stay positive, stay motivated, stay motivating. Bye.